Very good evening to all of you. So I welcome you to the MCQ session for Science and Technology. So what we'll be discussing today in this video is some of the MCQs, how we can attempt in Science and Technology, and what is the strategy for Science and Technology. See, whenever we say Science and Technology, it is a broad topic. So in order to have a better understanding or how we should be preparing, we should be trying to go thematically. So when we say thematically, what does it actually mean? So science and technology can broadly be divided in 5 themes. So this will help you in identifying the questions, from which sections the questions are being asked or where the focus area is. So the first theme is biotechnology. Okay, so this area or this theme has become important in pandemic times. So this year in prelims, if you have seen the question paper, out of 12-13 questions in science and technology, 5 questions were directly from the understanding of biotechnology. So some basic concepts of biotechnology were used and questions were formed on that. Another favorite area of UPSC has been space technology. So there were less questions this time. In fact, just one theoretical question based on space technology, but this is always a potential area from where questions can come. Next important area for prelims and mains is nuclear technology. Nuclear technology. Next important area is defense technology. And IT and computers. It is a big theme or a big topic, but we should be able to identify questions which are a part of IT and computers. So IT and computers is also an important theme. So in today's session also, what we will be trying to do is to solve some of the MCQs with respect to these themes. So what the questions we have chosen are from previous year questions and also some of the questions which we have formed. So this is to show you how MCQs work. So there is a plan for MCQs and there is a method of attempting MCQs. So MCQs is not solved just by pure knowledge. So it is solved by a combination of both knowledge and elimination. So you need to have some capacity for elimination also. So developing elimination skill is an important part while you have to solve MCQs, and specifically for science and technology, UPSC has tendency to use some of the keywords, especially they play with the numbers. So we will show in some of the questions how they tend to play with numbers to check your knowledge. So let us proceed with biotechnology first. So this was a question this year, and this question says that consider the following: bacteria, fungi, virus, which of the above can be cultured in an artificial synthetic medium? So this is a question which is kind of repeat. This same question or a very similar question was asked few years back, that is in 2012. What this question asked is that which of the following statements are correct? Viruses lack enzymes necessary for the generation of energy. Okay, if you look at the second statement, viruses can be cultured in any synthetic medium. So in fact, the statement of this question was picked and it was made the question. So if you would have attempted these questions or previous year questions, you could have got to the right answer in the first question also. So what is the answer in this case? So in case of bacteria and other microorganisms, the only microorganism, which is the virus, cannot be replicated outside a host, or it cannot be cultured in a synthetic medium. So this is a preliminary knowledge in biology. With this knowledge, you could have got to this answer also and to the previous question. Let us try to solve this one. So if you know that this statement is wrong, and in MCQ what we should be doing is that we should be reading one statement and going to the options and try to see whether any of the options they get eliminated or not. So let us say if you do not know the first point, and if you move or jump onto the second point, and it says that virus can be cultured in any synthetic medium. we, by knowledge, we know that this is not a true statement. So if we know that 2 is not correct, then how many options does it eliminate? If 2 is not correct, then it actually eliminates 2 options. So your probability of getting to the right answer increases. So you are now just lying on 50-50 border. So let us try to look. Viruses are transmitted from one organism to another by biological vectors only. So you would have seen that mosquitoes are the carriers of most of the viruses. So viruses can be carried to other organisms only through vectors. It means what? Viruses are on the borders of the living and the dead. So only they are active on inside a host cell. So if a human has to get infected by a virus, only it can come through a living organism. So most of the viruses, they come through mosquitoes or through some form of vectors. So that this is a correct statement. So this one, virus lack enzymes necessary for the generation of energy. So this is also a true statement with respect to virus. Okay, so you could have reached to the right answer. If we move, if you look at this question now, consider the following: bacteria, fungi, and virus. Which one of the following can be cultured in an artificial synthetic medium? If you know that virus cannot be cultured, so you could have eliminated 3 options here. You could have eliminated 3 options. 3 options, and you could have got to the answer. So in this way, a combination of knowledge and both the power of elimination can help you reach to the right answer. Moving on to the next questions. Now this was again a question on virus only. So viruses have become a favorite area this year because COVID pandemic has been caused by a virus. So a lot of interest has generated among the UPSC question makers on viruses. So in this question, if you would have knew that adenoviruses have single stranded DNA genomes, whereas retroviruses have double stranded DNA genomes. So let us say, even if you do not know this statement, so let us try to move to the second statement. Common cold is sometimes caused by an adenovirus, whereas AIDS is caused by retrovirus. So AIDS, you would have heard that there is a therapy called ART, or antiretroviral therapy. So you would have come to the conclusion that AIDS is caused by a retrovirus. So this is a correct statement. So seemingly second statement appears to be correct, and common cold is yes, caused by adenoviruses. Adenoviruses are some of the most common types of viruses which causes flu. So this statement is correct. Now we have to check whether this is the correct statement or not. Here, if you would have knew that retroviruses, the retroviruses are RNA based. So what this statement is saying, that retroviruses have double stranded DNA genomes. But by knowledge, we know that retroviruses are RNA based. So this is an incorrect statement. So you get to the right answer, which is that is the second statement is only correct, which gives you this option. So here you see we have used both knowledge and some elimination to get to the right answer. Moving on to the next question. Now this is a question again on virus. So please go through this question. See, which of the following statement are correct? Viruses can infect. So there is a general curiosity whether viruses can affect everything. Can it affect bacteria also? So there is a perception that viruses may not be able to affect bacteria, but in fact there are some bacteria eating viruses, which are known as bacteriophages. There are some bacteria eating viruses which are known as bacteriophages. Phages means basically feeding. So there are some viruses which feed on bacteria. So this statement is correct. So does this help? Yes. So this helps. Can it affect a fungi? Yes, it affects fungi also, and it affects plants also, it affects humans, it affects animals. So viruses are one of the most potent microorganisms, and it affects all the type of other organisms. So the answer is D in this case. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Now, this is a question again with respect to biotechnology, and this question is involves a basic concept of biotechnology, which is known as gene sequencing. So what this question says that at present scientists can determine the arrangement or relative position of genes or DNA sequence on a chromosome. How does this knowledge benefit us? So what is this saying? That scientists have been able to sequence human genes. So if you would have studied about human genome project, which started in 1990s and it was concluded in 2004. So what we did in that is that we sequenced the human gene, entire human genome was sequenced. So when we say genome, human genome, it means the entire genetic blueprint of humans. So our chromosomes has nitrogen base pairs. Our chromosomes have nitrogen base pairs A, T, C, G. So we, in this human genome project, we wanted to know the exact sequence of these A, T, C, G nitrogen base pairs, and we were able to find that exact sequence. And we found that there are around 3 billion base pairs in human genome. So most of them are repetitive in nature, but some of them carry information which are called as genes. So with this information, let us try to solve this question. What does it say? Does it say it is possible to know the pedigree of livestock? So let us say you do not know what is pedigree, but so then we might move to the next question. It is possible to understand the causes of all human disease. Now here it should have caught your attention that the word all human disease, this is an extreme word. So can just a human genome project, can it, has it solved all the human disease, or has it deciphered which disease is caused by which pathogens or by defects in which genes? So we have not been able to do that. Okay, so this statement is an incorrect statement. Okay, so if we know that second statement is an incorrect statement, does it help? So if you see here that this knowledge helps you in eliminating three options. The pen is not working here. So what we are landing upon is C, 1 and 3 only. So we just have to verify that whether C, that which says that 1 and 3 are correct. So we'll verify whether third statement is correct or not. It is possible to develop disease resistant animal breeds. So yes, it is possible to produce disease resistant animal breeds. In fact, even in humans, we have been able to do that. The famous Chinese scientist Hu Junkai, he produced a gene edited baby, and it was found, or the purpose of doing this was to make that baby resistant to HIV. So not only animals, but we can also produce humans which can be disease resistant. So 3 is the correct statement. So 1 also comes out to be true. So it is possible to know the pedigree of livestock. So when we say pedigree, what do we actually mean by pedigree? Pedigree is basically the inheritance pattern in any livestock or in humans. So pedigree, it is like from one generation to another generation, whether any particular trait is passed on or not. So let us say your parents have a particular trait. So is that has that trait passed on to you or not, or will your trait be passed on to the next generation? So it is not just about traits, but it can be about diseases also. So let us say if one family has hemophilia, so will that be passed on to the next generation or not? So this was the case that was done in British royal family, whether hemophilia, how it passes from one generation to another generation. So lives pedigree analysis helps in knowing the inheritance of traits and disease. So it helps in knowing the pedigree of livestock. So yes, it is true. It helps in knowing the pedigree of livestock. Now let us move to the next question. Okay. Okay, recombinant DNA technology. So what this is saying, so when you hear the recombinant DNA technology, so biotechnology actually begins with this recombinant DNA technology. Who is the father of recombinant DNA technology? Paul Berg. He was a Stanford scientist, and he was the first who introduced this method. Why do we call it a recombinant DNA technology? It means we combine genes from two different sources and we paste it into a host, or we transfer it into a host, so we get a desired gene. So it is basically recombination of genes. So what is the basic principle of biotechnology? It is that we humans, or in fact every living organism, has evolved from a common ancestor, and it is said that we all have evolved from bacteria. So because of that, are at the chemical level, at the DNA and the micromolecular level, we all are similar. So genes from, let us say, pigs can be introduced in humans. Genes from animals can be introduced in plants. So when we say Bt, cotton, so what is Bt? Bt is Bacillus thuringiensis. So it is a bacteria. So we derive a toxin in a bacteria and we put it in a plant. So what are we doing this? We are recombining genes from one species to another species. So we can do that. So all living organisms are genetically very similar, or chemically they are similar. So that is why we can do such manipulation with genes, and that is the principle of recombinant DNA technology. So you call this as recombinant DNA technology, or genetic modification, or GMOs, genetically modified organisms, or transgenic. So here we are saying genetic engineering. So all these are similar terms, or they are used synonymously. So let us see what this question is saying. Recombinant DNA genetic engineering allows genes to be transferred. So let us see across different species of plant. Yes, it is possible, it can be transferred from different species of plant. We do that. So this is the correct statement. So does this help? So this helps in eliminating one option. It can be transferred from animals to plants. So yes, it can be transferred from animals to plant. We know that. Does this help? So there, the answer must include two, but here you see that only D includes 2, and you see that D includes 2 and it includes 3 also. So if we go by that, so third must be correct. So what it says, that from microorganisms to higher organisms. So this is also true. We can in fact transfer genes from bacteria to humans. So bacteria might be referred to as a lower organisms and humans as a higher organism. So we can do that. So what is the answer in this case? The answer is all of these is a correct statement. So this is one of the basic understanding of biotechnology based on which a question was framed, and this is a trend. Whenever a question of biotechnology comes, a basic understanding is only required and not much more. So moving on to the next question. Stem cells. Okay. So what does this question says? Stem cells. With reference to stem cells, frequently in the news, which of the following statement is are correct? So stem cells, we must have some knowledge of stem cells. What are stem cells? Stem cells, you can understand it as they are body's master cell. So any type of cell can be formed from a stem cell. So a stem cells can take shape of any type of organs or any type of cell. So a stem cell can become a heart cell, a nerve cell, a brain cell, a blood cell, or any other cell. So this is the potential of a stem cell. So that is why stem cell therapy or stem cell research is a very progressive field, and much of the research is going on in the biotechnology sector in this particular stem cell therapy. So let us try to see whether we are able to solve this or not. So stem cells can be derived from mammals only. So this should have raised an eyebrow. Are stem cells found in mammals only? There are different types of animals. So stem cells are not found in are found in every type of animals. So one of the basic stem cells where it is found is in embryos. So what are embryos? So after the zygote formation, the initial phase of the development is called as the embryo. So in embryo, you have a lot of stem cells. So all the organisms, all living organisms, they generally evolve from embryos. So we cannot say that other animals which are not mammals, they do not have stem cells. So if this statement is incorrect, if one is incorrect, how does it help? So it helps in eliminating two options, so option A and option D. So now we are left with two options, 2 and 3. So by this, it means that 3 is correct. 3 is correct. If this option gets eliminated, it means 3 is in both the options. So 3 is naturally correct. So stem cells can be used for medical therapies. Yes, they are used. They are being used. So bone marrow therapy is using stem cell therapy. Stem cell therapies can be used to treat cancer. So this has been used in treating cancers also. So there was a recent news that a woman in America, she was cured of HIV using stem cell. So this is an ongoing area of research. So this is a correct statement. So you have to check whether 2 is correct or not. Stem cells can be used for screening new drugs. So yes, definitely they can be used. So you can grow, let us say you want to develop a drug for liver. So you can grow a liver in the lab and then you can test that drug for its efficacy. So yes, 2 is also correct statement. So your answer comes out to be this B, 2 and 3 only. Okay, so let us move to the next question. Now we'll be covering some questions related to space technology. So in space technology, before we begin, I would like to point out that UPSC has a habit of playing with numbers. So here we'll see some of the questions where they deliberately throw some numbers and they check your knowledge whether you are well versed with those numbers or not. So you in exam situation or in pressure situation, you tend to think that these numbers might be correct or they are correct only. But you should always be skeptical when you see a number thrown by UPSC. So we'll see that. So in space technology, UPSC not only asks questions related to just technology, but UPSC also asks questions related to the basic understanding of space. So here you need to have some understanding of light, so some features of light, or there are concepts of black hole. What is a black hole? What is a gravitational wave? How gravitational wave is produced? So the general theory of relativity, which was given by Albert Einstein, is a favorite area of UPSC. So you should be quite well aware about this general theory of relativity. It covers many aspects related to concepts of space, like what is black hole, how a black hole is formed, how it warps the space-time, how light bends around a black hole, what is an event horizon, what is a wormhole. So these are some of the areas which UPSC has asked, and they often tend to ask these areas. So you should be aware. So what are gravitational waves? How these gravitational waves are detected? So there are questions based on detectors only. So which type of detector is based on Earth? Which type of detector is based on space? Which new detectors are we planning for? So these are some of the areas where they would be asking. So let us see this question. So this was a question this year. Which one of the following is a reason why astronomical distances are measured in light years? So yes, light is the fastest energy, or it is electromagnetic which travels the fastest. So it travels around 3 lakh kilometers in 1 second. And you see that the speed of light is often referred to as c. C is equal to speed of light, but the speed of light is not constant. So it varies according to the medium. So the speed of light in water would change. When we say speed of light is constant, so speed of light is constant in a particular medium. So let us say in vacuum, the speed of light, in case of vacuum has a refractive index of 1. So there the speed of light would remain same. And for astronomical distances, the medium would still be vacuum. So the light would have same velocity. But let us say if light has to pass through water, or light has to pass through diamond. So diamond has a refractive index of 2.4. So light barely, it is able to crawl. So that is why you see why diamond is so shiny. So in this question, there is a concept involved. So speed of light is always the same. So you might think that it is always the same, but it varies with respect to the different mediums. So light always travel in a straight line. Is this the correct statement? See, again, from general theory of relativity, and Albert Einstein, he said that in black holes or in areas around black holes, the light bends. Why the light bends? Because the escape velocity needed for light to escape from a black hole or from the center of a black hole, that is more than speed of light. But in general theory of relativity, Einstein said that no body or energy can travel faster than speed of light. So if no body or energy can travel faster than speed of light, so even if light enters a black hole, it won't be able to escape that black hole. Okay, so that is why we see that light bends around black holes. So this statement is not always correct. Light always travel in straight line. This statement is not correct. Gravity of stellar bodies does not change. Gravity of stellar bodies do change. Yes, because it is dependent upon the mass and the shape. So if two black holes are merging, so gravity would change. If there is some collision, if it loses mass, then gravity could change. Distances among stellar bodies do not change. This also change. So the trick here is that speed of light is always same, but here the caveat is that speed of light, it is assumed that for astronomical distances we have a refractive index of 1. So in that case the speed of light is same. So the best option in all these four is this option. Speed of light is always same. So we would go with this answer. Okay. So moving on to a similar concept. This was a question which was asked previously also. So let us see this question. This question also tests your basic understanding of light. Okay, so what this question says, that light okay, so what this question is saying, that light this question says that light is affected by gravity. So this we have seen that yes, light is affected by gravity in case of black holes. So does this help? Light is affected by gravity, so it must be there in the options. So it helps you in eliminating one of the options, that is 3 only. So the universe is constantly expanding. Is this a correct statement? Yes, the universe is constantly expanding, and this was also proposed in general theory of relativity, that there is a force that is known as dark energy, and this energy is basically 74 or 70, in fact 2/3 of our universe is composed of this dark energy, and this dark energy is the source of energy which is leading to expansion of the galaxies. So are the galaxies expanding? Yes, they are expanding, and the reason is dark energy. So this statement is also a correct statement. Okay, matter warps its surrounding space-time. Now this is also a question related to, this statement is also related to general theory of relativity. So what Einstein had said, that space is not unidimensional. Space is not unidimensional. So when you perceive space, so it is not that you leave Earth and you enter into space. What happens is that your perception of space depends on the time, which is a relative measure. So on Earth you are measuring time differently. So might be on different galaxy, the perception of time would be different there. So what develops basically is that there is a space-time matrix. In that space-time matrix, any matter, if it is present in this space-time matrix, it warps that space-time matrix. So if you consider space-time matrix as a big cloth, space-time matrix as a big cloth, and if you put a matter, let us say a black hole, on that space-time matrix, then the whole cloth will warp. Okay, and this warping of space-time matrix because of matter is what is known as gravity. So it is this warping of the space and time leads to what attraction of bodies towards the center of the let us say black hole or any planet or star. So this statement is also correct. So going by this, so here you need a little knowledge or little understanding of general theory of relativity. But if you have some interest, or if you attend some of the videos, we will be trying to clear that. So with this, the answer would be 1, 2 and 3. Moving on to the next question. Okay, so here you would see how UPSC plays with numbers. This is this question came because this mission was quite in news. So let us see what the statement says. The Mangalyaan launched by ISRO is called as Mars Orbiter mission. Yes, true. So does it help? So there are 3 options. So you have eliminated B. Made India the second country to have a spacecraft orbit the Mars after USA. Was India the second country? Was India the second country to orbit Mars? So you should have remembered that India is not second, but it was in fact the 4th country. So there were earlier 3 countries who have sent mission to Mars and they were successful. Okay, so India was not the second country. So if you would have paid attention on this, so you could have actually got to the answer. So if this is not correct, then you are left with 1 and 3 only. Made India the only country to be successful in making its spacecraft orbit the Mars in its very first attempt. And when this mission was launched, so the hailing point, or why this was hailed as one of the biggest achievement of ISRO, was that it was able to successfully launch this in first attempt. Other countries which have sent mission to Mars, they were not able to do it successfully in their first attempt. So this is a correct statement. So this was in news, and this was the peculiar thing about this mission. So in fact, India was the first Asian country to do so in the first attempt. So there was many firsts in this case, in case of Mangalyaan mission. So you should have taken a note of that. So with this, we come to this answer, C, 1 and 3 only. So let us move to the next question. Now this question again involves the concept of general theory of relativity. So this question says that black holes, observe the merger of giant black holes billions of light years away from the Earth. What is the significance of this observation? Okay, so if you read general theory of relativity, in that Einstein says that when cataclysmic events happen, what does it mean by when we say cataclysmic events? It means that let us say 2 neutron stars or 2 black holes, they are orbiting each other, and they are on path to collide or merge with each other. So what they do, we have seen in the previous case that space-time matrix is warped because of presence of a matter, of a black hole. And let us say there are 2 black holes in this space-time matrix, and they are revolving around each other. So what do? They actually send gravitational waves across the space. So they are like tiny ripples in space-time matrix. So this merger of black holes, they actually send gravitational waves in all the directions. So a few years back, there was a discovery that we were able to know that around 1.3 billion years ago, 2 black holes had merged. So the waves which had merged 1.3 or the black holes which had merged 1.3 billion years ago, the waves of that merger have reached Earth now, and we were able to detect it. So detecting a gravitational wave is a major challenge. So this question is basically asking you a conceptual understanding that what happens when black holes are rotating around each other, or when neutron stars are rotating around each other, or when they collide with each other. So they produce gravitational waves. They are ripples in space-time matrix, and these waves might reach Earth also, and we could detect them also. But detecting them is a challenge. We'll see a question based on detection. So the question here is, or the answer here is, gravitational waves were detected. So this is the right answer. Higgs boson particles were detected. So Higgs boson particle, we'll study that also if you come. So Higgs boson is basically a subatomic particle. So subatomic particle, it means it is a component of the atom. So we have a standard model. So standard model is like the present model which explains the other other components which are present in an atom. It is the best model at present which we have. So Higgs boson is related to that. There is a possibility of intergalactical space-time travel through wormhole was confirmed, and it enabled the scientists to understand singularity. So wormhole and singularity, they are concepts related to black holes only. So singularity, in a simple manner, you can understand singularity is you can understand as the center of a black hole where the density becomes infinite, and it is said that the whole universe has emerged from a Big Bang. So what happened actually before Big Bang was that there was a singularity, and that singularity happened to collide, or there was some incident which led to now coming up of the whole universe, or there was a Big Bang and the whole universe erupted, and the whole universe is expanding from that point. But what happened before Big Bang was singularity. So wormhole is what basically it is. It is a little complex topic to understand, but in a way you can understand that space-time matrix. So we have said that space-time matrix is just like a cloth. So imagine like a cloth is in a loop. Cloth is in a loop. So if this is present, if this is your looped space-time, okay, so if this is present and this is future, so normally one would be traveling like this to reach the future. Normally one would be traveling in a space-time matrix along this path. But what if you could have traveled this way in between this? So you are actually using a bridge to travel between two space-time. So you are actually doing time travel. So this was a concept which was given in general theory of relativity only. So this concept was used in some of the Hollywood movies and some of the serials also. So these are some of the terms related to this black hole only. But the answer for this question is that gravitational waves were detected because of the collision. So let us move to the next question. Okay, so what does this question say? What is LISA? Evolved LISA. Evolved LISA. So the word here is laser interferometer. Laser interferometer. So we have developed these observatories to detect what? Gravitational waves. So LIGO. So you would have heard about LIGO. So LIGO is Earth-based observatory to what? To observe gravitational waves. This LISA is a space-based observatory. So we are trying to observe gravitational waves not only from Earth but also from space. So we have developed what is known as LISA. So earlier we had LISA Pathfinder, but we are trying to develop more sophisticated forms or observatories so as to observe this gravitational waves phenomena. So when we say evolved laser interferometer space antenna, ELISA, it is basically to detect gravitational waves only. So if you would have been clear with the concept of gravitational waves, you could have easily answered this question of what is evolved LISA or LISA Pathfinder, or what is LIGO. So these are what basic understandings of black holes and the phenomena arising out of that. So the correct answer here is again to detect gravitational waves. Okay, so let us move to the next question. Okay, so this question also involves a conceptual understanding of our solar system, of how are sun and earth's magnetic fields they operate. Okay, so what does this question say is that electrically charged particles from space traveling at speeds of several hundreds kilometers can severely harm living beings if they reach surface of the earth. What prevents them from reaching the surface of the earth? What prevents them from reaching the surface of the earth? So this is a very important question. And if you would have read about auroras are what basically the shining sky, the bright sky which occurs in